and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn and to another build for my 1/48 scale Christmas village. Now today I'm going to be working on the Yuletide Christmas shop, and this property was the Christmas Day kit from the 2023 Petite Properties Advent Calendar. Now that took some working out, not least because all I've been thinking about is this year's Advent Calendar, but we're not there yet. This is a low relief building, which means it's not as deep as it would be if it was a proper building, and can be made with a glazed back, which I will be doing because I like that on the other property that I built. Yeah, mine's gone numb. It's my Christmas Village's post office. Mistletoe Cottage, that was the one. So I'm going to go through this kit because it's been a while since I looked at it. I'm going to familiarise myself with the instructions and with the parts, and then I'm going to start putting it together. I have been making great progress on the Yuletide Christmas shop, and I've now got 2 pieces of building together and a load more pieces that are almost ready to put on. Now obviously, although I've made good progress, it actually took a while to get here. It took a while to get here because you have to decorate a lot of it before you put it together, and as this is only made from mountain board, not from MDF, you have to be a bit more careful than you might be with an MDF house. Now I've got floor paper in, I've got bricks on the walls, and I've obviously done the painting. Now I've put the bay window into place on the ground floor, and I've put the window that sticks out into place on the first floor, and I'm just going to pop these two together roughly, line them up from the back, not the front, and you can see it's going to be a nice little property. Now obviously I've got all my wooden pieces. That piece goes along there, for instance, something like that. Let's pop it vaguely into place, and I've got pieces that go on the side. I have made a couple of changes. I've actually reduced the size of the window shelf in there. It was pretty much the full depth of the bay window. I decided I wanted it a bit narrower. 100% my decision. And I've made some extra pieces that I'm going to put some wood on the side here. Basically I'd already got this brickwork as a file, but it wasn't quite wide enough for these. So rather than mess about trying to find the original so I could resize it a bit better, I just did it like that, and I put some wooden pieces either end and across. I think it'll just add to the general look. And then I've got obviously the front door ready to go in. It actually goes in from the back that way. That's about ready to go in, and obviously then it's going to be a case of putting the roof on. Put that roof on, and obviously the roofs, and doing a suitable tile-like finish on those. But I am enjoying it. I have also made an extra piece. Is this piece, the original piece, that will go on the back. and I've made an extra piece because I need the original piece to hold the roof in place, but I don't want to stick the glazing in place until I'm finished, until I know I'm finished with the interior. So I made another piece out of small mount board, and it will just fit underneath the slight overhang of the roof at the back and make everything look okay. So I'm going to go back to putting all my pieces on, and then I'll see you in a while. The building is now together. All the extra details are in place, and I've done the roof. Now, I did the roof using a strip tile method, and it's turned out quite well. Now, this is a method I've used before, and I've actually used two widths of strip to do this. On the little bit of roof above the window, I used 1/4 inch strips, and then I used 1/2 inch strips on the main roof. I in effect created tiles that were 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch on the smaller, and these were 1/4 inch by, no, they're not 1/4 inch, I do apologise, those are 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. These were 3/8 of an inch by 1/2 inch. And what I do is I take my strip and I score lines or whatever I've decided the size of the tiles is going to be, and then I cut out by hand a little notch just to give the tiles some definition. Now, I've put a grey coat onto the tiles. I need to add more paint. I know there's white bits, but it is starting to get there. And I like this building. I like the fact that I've added my extra bits to the side. I do appreciate that, and I'm glad I've gone for 2 pieces for this that can be stuck in place temporarily with some tacky stuff. It can be glued in place properly eventually. I've got one more piece to stick on, which is a front piece for the roof, which goes on the edge here, but I decided I wanted to get this roof painted before I tried having to work around that. I'll probably also do some aging on this building just to grubby it up a bit before I stick that in place. But aside from that, my building is pretty much done. And while I was waiting for everything to cure, for paint to dry, I've started on furniture for the inside. Now, at the moment, I've just built it, so I'm not going to show you the furniture, but I have got a set of the instructions so I can show you what kits I've done. Now, I began with some shelves. I've got a bookcase and a tall shelf kit. These were just easy. I bought these especially because I use through the shelf kits so much in various projects. I've got a farmhouse table. I bought this one as well because I knew I wanted a big table for displaying goods. And I also purchased a shop counter because I haven't got any of those in my stash. Again, I've used them all, the few that I had. They're all just quite basic kits, really easy to put together. I think I've actually shown certainly very similar to the shelves, possibly to that one. The farmhouse table, again, it's pretty straightforward like other shelves. I then went through my stash and I found a washstand kit, which I thought that could do for holding something. I'm not sure what it's going to hold yet, but I've made that up. And then I found this one from one of the advent calendars, which is a Victorian credenza. Now, this is a fancier set, lots of shelves. It's got a glazed panel at the front and it's supposed to have a mirror. I haven't put in a mirror. I've done that on purpose. I know what I want to do with that. I will show you in due course. But I've made these and they are certainly the majority of the furniture that will be going in here. A lot of this piece is going to be in the little details, and that's where my attention is going to be turning next. I also pulled out some small Christmas trees. I actually found these. They were in a set of lights. I found a set of Christmas lights in the sale in January that had got little glass bottles, and in the bottles were these trees and some fake snow. I don't remember how much I paid for them. Not a lot, I think. It was possibly just pence. And I figured that these trees were a good size for going inside these buildings. And that is where this is going to go. It is going to go in the building. I may try and cut one down or fit another one on the table if I decide to put the table upstairs, which I am leaning towards, so I can actually have it decorated so it looks like a tree that you could take the decorations off to purchase, because this is, after all, my gift shop, Christmas shop, however you want to describe it. It's the main retail opportunity in my Christmas village. So I'm going to go back to my furniture and maybe to distressing the building a bit, and I'll see you shortly. I have been very busy since I last filmed, and I have added some ageing to the outside of the property. Now, this is only the first layer of ageing, because I'm going to wait until it's actually stuck down on its base to bed it in. But what I've done is I've added some dirty bits. Now, this is supposed to be a relatively new property that's been made to look old, so I want the ageing to not necessarily look too realistic. That's my kind of thought with the property, full stop. I need to do some more ageing on the roof, but I have added some, and I've also added some Christmas decorations. Now, as with the other buildings that I've done for the Christmas village, I've gone with beads for the garlands. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And this is literally strung beads on wire. This kind of wire. It's not this colour, this one's black. I've actually been using green. And then I've twisted two strands together to get my garland. And it works. It certainly looks effective from a distance. And as I keep saying, 1/48 scale is very much about illusion. So it's not so much what's there as what you think is there. So I've gone a bit over the top with my exterior decor, but this is a Christmas shop. It needs to be very Christmassy. Oh, my little wreath, as in common with other properties, is just a little ring of beads. Using wire rather than thread means I can actually bend it into position. Now, on the inside, I have actually started sticking some pieces in. Only a couple of pieces so far. I've put in a Christmas tree. You can see down there at the bottom. If I put my hand behind it, might make it a bit easier because it won't show through quite so much. And then there's some little baskets stuck into place around the window, which is the start of my interior scheme. Now, this has actually taken me quite some time. Now, as I said to you previously, I showed you the pieces of furniture that I was building and getting ready, and I've about done with them. I'm ready to start sticking them into the shop. So I'm going to start with my shop counter. Now, my shop counter, you're not going to see the front view because it's going to be visible from the back. But that doesn't mean to say that I haven't added details. I've added another garland to the front, and then on the top I've got a few little pieces, including a till. And on the back I've got some paper bags sort of hanging there, ready to put people's purchases in. So that's ready to go in. And I have actually been modelling it with good old grey Dave, just so you can see. If I put Dave next to it, you can see that it looks reasonable. Now, I've also got another Christmas tree. I've got a table, and on this table there are more of the baskets. Now, the baskets are 3D printed. Now, these have been 3D printed with a filament printer that I've got access to. Don't actually have it myself, but I am absolutely impressed with the level of detail, considering how small this is. And this is actually smaller than 1/48 scale. These are designed for tabletop gaming and are a smaller scale, but I think they work in this instance. I actually think that these ones look like oversized pine cones. They're kind of cool, as opposed to the one that I've put on there, that I've actually put some micro beads into the top of it. I haven't filled everything else because you're not going to see them. That was just me playing about. Now, I've also got a little washstand which I've put a basket on. Again, use your imagination as to what's in it, but I think you're starting to get this. Now, I've got 2 lots of shelves here, and I filled the shelves with beads. These are just little seed beads. Mixed bag of seed beads is a great addition for filling shelves and things. All that is going to be, when you actually look in the back of this house, is it's going to be a little flash of colour. And then on the top of this one I've got some more beads, which are longer beads, and I've actually made them look like candles. And then I've punched some squares of some metallic cardstock to make it look like those plates you get for putting candles on. I thought, yeah, that'll do. And then my final piece of furniture is the credenza. This I've gone a bit over the top with, but again, it's mostly beads. With the exception of one for the 3D printed baskets, this is all beads of varying sizes. Oh, and behind the glass there are some crystals. Those are actual little tiny crystals. They look like they might be specimen pieces of some sort, which is why they're shut away. But it doesn't take a lot. That looks, I think, quite effective, and especially when you think you're not going to be examining it close up. This is the closest anybody is ever going to see it. I think it's going to work pretty well. The final things I've got is I've got a few more baskets. They may go on the floor, I'm not sure. And I've got some frames. Now, the frames are 3D printed again, but I've printed these on my resin printer. And I wanted some frames because I saw in some photos of a real life Christmas shop that has sadly closed down near to me recently, where they'd got picture frames on the wall, and then they got Christmas baubles hanging within those frames. And this is what I've tried to replicate. Again, these are beads, they're little pearls, coloured pearls, great. You know, I've used them on the shelves here, they work. It just adds a pop of colour, something there. You can make of it what you will. And those are going to be stuck on the walls. So there's my contents. I better get on with sticking it in. I have stuck the pieces of furniture inside the building, and I'm really liking how it's looking. It has got a definite Christmas vibe. I may find another little piece to go on this side here because it looks a bit empty, but yeah, really pleased with how this has come together. Needs people maybe, I'm not sure. The population of my Christmas village at the moment consists of Santa. There will be more, but I'm not sure who or where. So that is another reason why I will not be sticking the back into place, although I will just show you. It will pop into place like that. I can hold it in place temporarily. It will save the inside from dust. So with that sorted, my next step is to start on the landscaping, and I'll move this out the way a bit. I'm going to be using some more of this. This is a plastic board. It's about the same thickness as foam board, but it's a lot harder. And it's what I've used for the bases so far. This is actually something that I've recycled, which is why I don't know what it is. We got it at work, being used to keep some printing that we had done flat. And I claimed it. We had no use for it at work, so I've claimed it for my bases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sticking the property onto the base and doing the landscaping, which is going to include a path to the front door and a lot of snow, maybe some trees. I've included a tree on the last one, and we've got a lot of trees to sort of scatter through the Christmas village, so that's probably not a bad idea. And I'm thinking about building another piece to go in front of the shop, a cart of some description. I've got a couple of kits that I could use. I'm going to go and have a look at. So on to the landscaping. The shop has been put into place on its base, and I've made quite good progress with the landscaping. I've done my usual snow technique. This is a snow scatter. It just gives a bit of texture rather than just having plain white, which is why I like it. And I've done the front path with the same scatter that I've used on other pieces for the village, and this sort of gives a mixed gravel effect. I have also added a couple of the trees that I've been using throughout the village for a degree of consistency. Now, one thing I have done is I have put some greenery around the building where I've glued it to the base. Now what this does is it anchors the building, and it covers up the inevitable gaps that you get because of the way that the building's constructed. It just gives it a more finished effect. And I've actually been able to stick the plastic piece in place, and this is staying in place pretty well, just to protect the inside, which is what I want it to do. So that's great. Now I do want to add something else because I've got this big empty space here. This is deliberate because obviously I don't just want to put a little building on a little base and have done with it. And so I got to wondering what I could use. And what I add is I've got a kit Well, I had a kit for a peddler's cart, and so I made the peddler's cart, and I filled it up with some gift wrapped boxes. Let me get this actually in shot properly. So we've got the peddler's cart, which is another of the Petite Properties kits. It's a really nice little kit, and we've got lots of boxes in there which are offcuts of melt board. Now, some of these pieces came in the size that they are. Some of the bigger ones came in the size they are from a bag of offcuts that I bought from Petite Properties. That includes the round one that's there. But all I did was I coloured them with an alcohol marker. I actually coloured this kit with alcohol markers. It's dark green and a nice bright red, which I thought were very appropriate Christmas colours. And I put Yuletide Shop on the cart as well. And I've just glued them together to make it look like some kind of arrangement. Now, there might be things that are to buy. It might just be a static arrangement, but it's going to go on the snow somewhere around about there. Now, I'm leaving some room because obviously I want to bring in some figures at some point. I've got dear old Grey Dave out again, and I can't actually leave him standing on the... Oh, he will stand on the path. He stands on the path. I could put him by the cart so it looks like he's looking at whatever's on there. It just gives me a bit of room to be able to put some figures in. Thanks, Dave. When I come to it. So all I'm going to do is I will put a bit of glue on the bottom of the wheels and on these two back supports, and then we'll fit that onto there. And then I believe that will be another building for my Christmas village completed. I'm not sure if I will be building the final building that I have got in mind for my Christmas village. That is the final building I've got in mind at the moment. I've got more ideas, but I need to find the right buildings. Or if I'm going to spend a bit of time this year working on some of the smaller details, and by that I mean little vignette pieces that can be put around. I've got, for instance, a couple of these market barrows that could be done as little pieces that could be scattered about. I've got a few other pieces I want to use in a similar way. I'm not sure. And of course, I've got it in the back of my mind that there might be something with this year's Advent calendar that I can use to expand the village. We shall have to see, shan't we? Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video and this actually pretty cool Christmas build, like, comment and subscribe. It all helps my channel. And consider ringing that notification bell so that when I do put up another video, YouTube should let you know. Because at the moment I don't know what it'll be or when it'll be, but there'll be something. And until then, bye.